looks like that's all. Let's now just
Oui, monsieur.
live further, and that's it. Next turn, we'll find out if the Russians are going to renew the war against us, or if they already had a lesson and think that this has to stay over. But you'll never know, maybe they will honor the agreement with other nations so much they will never be at peace with us. Now the Ottomans are certainly closing on our cities. It's good that they did not attack us with something like 5 armies, but currently their numbers are quite high anyway. It's good that we are not at war against very small nations. Our income is down a little bit. Public servant dies. Bach dies. Jonas Sebastian Bach, the great composer, has died at the age of 65. His health had been in general decline for some time, to the extent where his employer, the Elector of Saxony, had already been searching for a replacement. Kapellmeister from the Burgomaster at Leipzig. Bach's eyesight in particular had become very poor, and so the British ophthalmologist John Taylor attempted an operation to correct it, sadly during which the composer died. Many in the press seem content to blame the surgeon for Bach's death, whereas other more reasonable reports have suggested Bach was killed by a stroke brought on by the pneumonia he was known to suffer from. He leaves a body of work containing more than 1,000 pieces. Well, obviously, one of those 1,000 pieces is proved to be very, very valuable indeed. Now, let's start with the invasion of Iceland.
Préparez-vous.
Wow, alright, very interesting indeed. Alright, look at that. Will they join us? The trade agreement cancelled. Hanover. This nation has pulled out of a carefully broken trade agreement between you. And they have all joined at war. And that means Russia is back in the game. And they will just simply fight us once again. Further. However, this invasion here will prove to be a great success for us, because we'll be able to take this Iceland with the relative ease. They have accepted the surrender. However, this building was lost. So, in any case, beautifully designed engagement there. Now, what else do we have? So the Ottomans are coming from here, and this army will just simply have to move on and face the Ottomans. Alright. This army will just have to go and fight the Russians further, I guess. But before we do that, let's move on our diplomats to Russia and have a chat. Or maybe not. Or maybe not indeed. Just advance further. Would they agree to peace? They would refuse to surrender, but they would be supported by Cortland if we are not sieging Cortland itself. Now that they have been sieged, We demanded a surrender. They refused. Obviously they refused because they're just...
Opération de siège en préparation. Il se cache sous les jupons des femmes. Village assiégé.
Isn't a place for them to run. However, Riga is going to be wiped out.
Hurrah!
Just like that. Very, very few losses. And another settlement is ours. Okay. Let's move this force forward. And now you can see here the Russians had quite powerful navy here. I want to go through the cities now and take a closer look at what exactly we are and we're not taxing. Hopefully I find a few settlements that were not taxed, and that's exactly what's happening now. That is what I really like to see. As you can see, all of our settlements now are being taxed, and that is exactly how it should go. So one army is marching on to the Ottomans, another army will be marching on to Crimea, and we will hope to fight and win here. Alright, I see what's happening here. It looks like they have set up a force here. This force is split, and it's either going to be a lot more of them, or it will not. So this spy cell can move on south and have a closer look for me if there is a very powerful resistance. Now, these people will certainly be destroyed by our combined force, but I'm going to let these recover first before the offensive begins, so two armies of ours won't have a big problem dealing with the rest of them. Now in here we need to move in and start the battles against Hanover here. Very powerful, important battles. So the sides are quite equal, as you can see, and we'll just have to do this personally on the battlefield and make sure that Hanover falls. Without the Hanover, they won't be able to strike us with two armies in the back, so at any point in time they may as well just declare war on us, and it would be bad. It would be really bad, really quickly. Now the peace didn't last long against Russia, but at least we know that we can have peace with them. However, this won't come cheap, and obviously if we are not asking, we don't know, but for as long as we have forces to smash in them, it's fine. Okay, now there's two armies of theirs out there, and we need to make sure that they're all dead. So now we know where the reinforcements are coming from and where our reinforcements are coming from. They have very well deployed artillery positions here. They have stakes set up. As you can see, their positions are very much very defensive here. And these are proper Europeans who know how to do business, and we are going to advance. Now in here, as you can see here, they are coming with reinforcements. So what we're going to do here is we're simply going to attack those reinforcements of theirs and hope that this is exactly what we need to do, and that's pretty much it. Okay, we'll be running all of them through. and we'll fight the reinforcing army. As you know, we can have two armies on the battlefield while they can, and that will put a strain on us. Okay, they can have two armies on the battlefield too, so this will surely is going to be good. Now, the only thing we're winning out of all of this is the fact that we're getting rid of their cavalry, and if they lose units, as you may know, they will start getting more units from the reinforcement tab. So for every one of these cavalry units that they lose in the route, and then having routed one, they will probably end up with an additional infantry regiment, and we'll be waiting for that infantry regiment here. So as you can see here, a cavalry, artillery pieces, carried by cavalry have been brought up. In here we're fighting them, and so far so good. The fight seemed to be very successful for us. And furthermore, let's get these troops just like that, and just like that we are going to fight everybody that's entering the battlefield. Now this is not making Hanover troops from the main battle line move anywhere, which is certainly a very good thing for us. Now I want to turn off the guard mode. I want all the troops to run forward. In here we're having nice engagements too. And for as long as we're fighting them just like that, it should be just fine. Alright. These guys can start engaging. Alright, as you can see, we're doing an awesome job there. Stacking up against enemy brigades. And look at that, more and more of them are showing up, and they will be met with fierce resistance. We're not going to move too close, so that their artillery would not be able to attack us effectively. In any case, here the reinforcements are coming in, as you can see, and we are going to successfully engage these reinforcements that they are sending with a bayonet charge. Now, they can't really retreat for a long time. The moment they decide to break, they're going to be on the other side of the battle, and this will give us an edge in this engagement type here. But cavalrymen won't have a problem fighting. Additional general can be brought in here. At the same time, at any point, I can allow my troops to retreat here. So far so good. I don't see that many of them here anyway. At all times, we just simply have to fight using at least 2 brigades versus one of theirs, and things should always go into our favor that way. Okay. Their army from here is not going anywhere. How sad indeed, how sad. and that means we'll just wait. On the other side there's only artillery pieces, which is not a big deal, after all. Let's get one of these there, and let's make sure that the fight's going just fine. Alright, these now need to regroup. As you can see now, they're bringing in truly significant numbers, and we're going to have to face those numbers, and it's obviously not going to come easy. For as long as they spread out, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But if they decide not to spread out, then it's not going to be good. So first of all, we'll be shooting. Good. We'll be shooting, and we'll be making sure we win, because there's just so more of us. Now, at the same time, I'm having these guys up. We'll get everybody in a position here, and when the time comes, we are just simply going to advance on them with very significant numbers. So for as long as they're closing up, we'll be shooting at them. When they stop closing in, we are going to attack them with bayonets. And there's just going to be so many of us, they simply are not going to have a chance of very successful engagement. Alright, it looks like we are fighting while having number advantage, and we are surrounded, more importantly, obviously, and while having such a massive advantage, we should get rid of all of these brigades in no time. Okay, these guys can start advancing, just like that. It looks like we'll be cutting them all up here. So this is where all of their blood is going to spill. Much better decision to cut them down here, right? If only we would have known. Oh, it would have been so much better. But now that we actually experience it, it's not that worse, right? And cutting them down here and not moving on to fight the Ottoman Empire was the thing. Besides, we don't know how things would have went there, but in here so far, one army was able to do enough damage to get rid of nearly both. Obviously the battle is not finished yet, but it's close. It's certainly really close. Now in here we're just going to see how the last of their reinforcing brigades are going to fight, and it's going to be it. Okay, that looks like another one of our cavalry units, so we'll just hit them in the backs, and let's make sure they rout as fast as possible. Some fighting for our general will not be too bad anyway. Done. Now that that's done, let us prepare for another battle. I'm going to withdraw some of my units. And now that that's the case here, you may as well notice that the enemy is making some adjustments to its lines. There are so many of us here that undoubtedly we are going to attack them very, very effectively. Okay, I have retreated one of the units there successfully. There's actually many of them. There is a few too many, so to speak. But maybe if my troops would have some rest, things would be a little bit different. So they're currently very, very tired. I'm not sure just how long I would have to wait for them to recover. But I'm sure that it wouldn't last too long. Okay, there's at least 2 brigades here that could link up in the back. 3 in fact. So they were not attacked, so I like to see that they were not attacked. And these here need to recover a little bit. Maybe just a little bit longer. Okay, it looks like they're fresh. They're fresh and active. So let's wait for these guys. And I haven't even noticed how additional brigade ended up here. They are a bit wounded. I knew that there was 1 here, but 2? No, I didn't. So with these guys there in the backs, we'll have a much better advantage here. So we'll be able to hit them successfully in their own backs. Whatever they have there will engage a front, and after that they are going to engage or end up being engaged in the back and in the front. Alright, so I'm sending the troops there, as many as possible, to fight their initial lines there. We're only going to fight the battles we want to, and these guys will attack from the other side. Okay, so far so good. This brigade won't be engaged for a little while, but so far so good. It doesn't matter which side engages first. We should end up having a nice one anyway. Now if they engage the ones in the back, they'll be hit by the ones in the front, and so on and so forth. So their artillery is shooting, but they won't be shooting for long, and so it begins. Alright, everybody is getting in position. These guys too. Look at that. So far so good. We don't even need these guys there. We go here. You go there. Okay. This is a massive battle, and our troops are fresh, and it looks like we are winning, no doubts about that. And for as long as we keep winning, it's going to be fine. Okay. Done. Looks like we are going to flank them any moment now. Now that the first units here are surrendering or routing. It's not entirely surrendering, they just don't want to die and retreat. Alright, let's do another charge here. Maybe this will break their morale. This charge, they are being surrounded anyway. but they are keeping themselves strong. Their losses are not nearly as numerous. Here, while in this area, things are very, very, very different. Alright. It seems that the experience has prevailed here. We are winning. And they are broken everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. Now, we just need to make sure as many of them die before the battle's completely over, and that's it. So more or less they're all wiped out, actually. So that was a really good battle, and surprisingly only one army prevailed, with support from a few brigades, and that's it. So this means that the Hanover is not far from a complete takeover. Here, look at that, they will launch an offensive. Our attack was so ferocious that they even left Hanover itself. We just kind of brought them out to visit them. In any case, I'm going to attack the armaments here in the town. Without these, their hopes of achieving victory will be crushed. And now let's ask the people to surrender. They would not surrender, and so we'll just cut them down. Hanover is ours. That's good. This army has nothing else to do. As you can see, the battle was so successful that Hanover as a nation has been destroyed. This nation has been destroyed, its home region having fallen into enemy hands. A once great nation will become nothing more than a footnote in history. Good. Now, what does that mean? That means I need to replenish further and advance into Denmark itself a lot more deeper. In here, my navy can go back to Europe, while some of its remnants can stay there in Iceland. In here, I need to build more ships, but that's for the future. I do have a few navy ships here already, as you can see. Now, how's the battle for Crimea is gonna go? I'm not sure. Now, do these really need to recover? Let's find out. Let's risk it and let's just do this. Okay, as you can see, we did not need them to recover because we didn't lost any brigades, and this will give us additional 900, and our income will be at 13,000 now, and we have a much clearer pathway to further expansion. Obviously there's probably a powerful resistance here, but overall it's fine. And what will Ottoman Empire have? It's unclear, but obviously having their cities occupied is going to be a lot more difficult because they have a different religion, and their religion is Islam. Let's move on to this region over here, and let's take back what is soon rightfully belong to us, and that's New Orleans. Obviously it's still not ours, but would soon be, because the population here is really small, only 1,000. So if all of these are going to be Europeans from France or so, the ones that wish to align themselves to France, is going to be fine. A nation destroyed Quartland, so this will give us some more trade routes, and we could as well build ourselves a more powerful navy. Actually, I think that building a navy is so important. I'm just going to just order more navy ships built instead of early army recruitment. So I currently have 3, 6, and there's 4 coming, so at least 10 in approximately 2 turns. We'll have 10 ships, and we'll need additional 10, and we'll be moving out. And we'll be hunting down enemy fleets and hoping that we can establish ourselves a powerful trade routes.